Beautification Commission. We'll start with roll call. I guess everybody's here.
Lucas Richardson.
Here.
Jermaine Sullivan.
Here.
Kathleen Grabowski.
Here.
Kelly Greavy.
Here.
Mary Kay Wilco.
Here.
Public comment. There's nobody in the audience. Approval of agenda. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda as is.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Kelly?
I said aye.
Aye, okay, good. Approval of minutes from March 13th meeting. I'll make a motion to approve the March 13th meeting minutes as is.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unfinished business, so a community service day that we scheduled for May 4th at 3 p.m. I guess we'll start with a discussion on the draft public notice that Kelly drafted. I can lead off my comments. I think this is pretty simple and very descriptive on what we're doing. I think some of our discussion today is gonna determine whether or not some of what we have going on that day will, be removed or added to this notice. So.
But we didn't see this, right? So.
No, she had sent this I think last week. So I guess take a few minutes to review it.
Oh, we're sending notices, right? That's will come.
Yep.
I don't ever get
Okay.
it.
Are we getting one dumpster?
So a dumpster's on the agenda to discuss about this community service day, whether or
Okay.
not to do it and where and when.
Okay.
So Kelly took the effort to draft this letter with the intent from our previous meetings to give it to the homeowners in that area to let them know that we're having that community service day. So I guess, is there any discussion?
Just on this right here, or?
Yeah, let's just start with the letter for now.
Well, I guess I have to say a little bit more before I can do that, because I took a ride past Casman, and I'm not so sure there's a dumpster needed. I don't know
Yeah,
about anybody else, because we have, I wrote a list of things that I think need to be done there. I know it was Jermaine's deal, so she probably can, talk about that, but I don't know what we would put in there besides like shrubbery and weeds and,
Stuff that wouldn't go into a dumpster.
yeah, because I think that we should save that for something that's maybe or something, you know what I mean?
I absolutely agree. I think for Casman, I think what's needed is
Some
the
beautification.
thing you use to edge the sidewalks and clean that up, and big bags for like weeds and stuff like that. I think that maybe we should look at using this letter and maybe like a week in June, getting 2 dumpsters and placing one over like somewhere in Maxwell Town and one on the north side. And then we go through and like the addresses that have like a ton of blight and send them this letter and say, just add on here where the 2 dumpsters are located. You're free to use them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to use a donated dumpster for Casman and then nobody uses it.
Mhm.
Like, we don't fill it up.
Would be the
Yeah.
neighbors probably, you know what I mean, but I'm thinking.
So this would be a better way to kind of target blight specifically and target the entire community.
Yeah, we'd actually be doing 2 projects.
Yeah.
Instead of Casman, we'd do the dumpster project, figure out where we could place it somewhere over in Maxwell Town, and then place it somewhere over on the north side.
Mhm.
And then, because it's not hard to get addresses of blighted properties and send them this letter and say, hey, we have this dumpster free for you to use at these 2 locations.
Yeah, and I think when we talked about this last time, you and I, Jermaine, we talked about maybe putting one at Duffy Park and one at Morton Park, if that would be okay with city staff.
Yeah.
And then we could.
Yeah,
send
we're
that
not,
to-
we're not putting the dumpsters there, so I don't know. We just have, there's just certain regulations to the ordinance dumpster, that's just approved by the police department and lit at night, so.
You say we're not putting the dumpsters there?
Yeah, we don't, the police department has no way to physically move dumpsters.
No, I understand that, but would it be okay for us to have Republic deliver the dumpster at those locations temporarily, and then we have this letter mailed out to the community, so that way they could bring their stuff to that dumpster?
So you want the dumpsters located on the parks property?
We just thought those would be good locations.
I don't know who can give that permit, I don't know who the authority is there.
Morton Park has enough room in
Okay.
that little area for a dumpster, but. I mean,
Are we talking about having this in a parking lot or on a public street?
For Duffy Park, I figured it would be a little bit easier, cause it's just gravel out there, and there's a lot of space, but Morton Park, I don't think there is a parking lot, is there?
No. Would that have to go through the Parks Commission then to get approval, or through?
I would think the
Maybe,
city
or Jeff?
manager can give you permission depending on how long the dump, but this group needs to decide where the dumpster's going, how long it's gonna be there, and who's gonna pick it up when it starts looking like a mess. I think that's probably questions that he would have, that whoever asks him, probably needs to have the answers to. Does that make sense?
You can ask the owner of the, where the old Civic Club used to be, that parking lot. I mean, cause it's not being used for anything. Ask him if we could just have a dumpster there for a week.
Is that the 9th and Vine down
Yes,
there?
yes.
Yeah, that's probably a good spot too.
Well, should we look around and see exactly how much blight there is around to see which is the best options? I mean, I don't know, I'm just thinking, where they should go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking at Casman, when I went by, I'm just gonna throw that out there. So I'm thinking there needs to be like some flowers and painting, like you said before, and some, weeding and mulch and all of that. So are we going to like get this ready, so we're ready to go on, what is it,
May 4th, yeah, that was the objective today, yep.
Okay, so I could check and see if we could get some flowers donated maybe by Weezy's, or maybe not even flowers, but maybe some,
Plants and.
yeah, something, whatever they would have, that they would be, because there's like the sign when you walk in that looks really yucky.
Yeah,
And there's the corner when you go, I don't know what even street that would be, Engelman, no, maybe
Yeah.
Ramsdale, Engelman, Ramsdale, I think it is. And there's another sign there that you can't even see on the corners, like kind of kitty corner. And then there's one in the back that looks really bad too.
And I assume Casman would be up to having us do all this, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Do they own that Casman, or who owns it?
I have no idea who owns the school.
No, the place room, the playground behind it.
I think it's all owned by.
Yeah,
the
Well, I
it's,
think it's Casman.
yeah, it's all Casman.
Yeah.
So are we gonna have someone put together a scope of work document that we can figure out what exactly
So
needs to be done?
the item number 4 under community service day, I was kind of anticipating that we could, as a commission, vote on using the remainder of the budget, and we're probably not going to use all of that, I would assume, but at least everybody would be in agreement to put dollars towards that project.
And how much is left?
There is $895,
And that has to be used up in this budget?
and that has to be used by July.
Yeah, well, if it doesn't get
July
used, it
1st.
just goes away, yeah.
It goes away.
Our budget cycle is July 1 to July, yeah, so after July 1's new budget.
Well, there's like a little veranda there in the back, and I think there's cement, it looks like. I kind of walked around a little bit. So I'm wondering, do they have any type of like a picnic table or a couple picnic tables, or do you know that?
I don't think, I think what they got is,
Probably
I
out
don't know
there.
how expensive a picnic table would be, but it would be nice to have couple of them there for the kids to have lunch there, something outside. I don't know.
I would probably make an assumption, say those are probably a couple grand a piece. It's
Just a regular,
crazy, but
I
yeah.
mean, just a wood one even?
That's probably like the really nice wood one with the metal base and everything, they're probably a couple grand.
Okay, I'll check on.
We could get, yeah, we could see.
City, if they would.
Yeah, do we have any
donate
extra?
one, too. I mean, there's a lot of them,
I don't know.
Okay, good.
but I'll ask Jeff.
Yeah, 'cause there's been a lot of them there at,
Let me look it up right now.
the park over there on the end of 4th Avenue. And that's not really that much of a picnic area anymore. I mean, you might have to clean it up, paint it. But I'll bet you could get one or a couple from the city and spruce it up.
But I think I don't know, what do you think, Jermaine, but I think there needs to be some mulch and there's painting.
Yeah.
There's some signs that need painting.
Yes.
And there's, they have a seating area in the back that's like this, big blue, like a bright blue that's all chipped up. And, I mean, there's a lot of painting and weed whacking.
Yeah, and then there's that corner with the steps and the
Exactly,
railing.
and the steps and, yeah.
Yeah, we might, I mean, after that list, I mean, we might be using a lot of that budget up too, so. I think it might be better to see where we're at. I mean, we would still have a month and a half or 2 months after the project. If we have some budget left, we could do something additional too.
Or like maybe we can even get some paint, donated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that basically the scope of the work is just landscaping and touching up the signs and seating area there. I didn't see, I mean, anything else besides that. I mean,
Well, it just looks, like it just needs some help, some sprucing up, like you said.
Yeah.
I know I'm still a little behind, but is this something that Casman knows we're coming?
yes, they do.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess I was thinking if we were doing that as a project, I thought the dumpster was just for the neighborhood around it, so.
It was intentional, or originally that's what we had.
like a-
Well, I didn't know if they had stuff, like Chasm had stuff that we could put in the dumpster,
Yeah.
but I mean, it would be, I don't know. We put a dumpster on Casman property for the neighbors to like throw their stuff away.
But it makes the whole neighborhood look good if they do throw their stuff away. I mean, if you're in Casman and looking around, it would look nice to see that.
And I think those people could still be delivered the letter. I think the thought from Marion and Jermaine was, by doing a couple dumpsters in a couple locations, we could
Yeah, no, I
target a
understand.
lot more people, so,
Right, I
I
understand.
mean,
I just thought if this was gonna be a project, if we had a dumpster for the neighborhood, it might be a awesome project
mhm.
for the neighborhood.
That's what the discussion's about right now, so.
I just don't wanna put the one dumpster there and then nobody uses it, cause they don't think they have a problem with their stuff, and then we just got a dumpster donated and it just went to waste.
Then
That's
we
my
don't
only
use a whole
concern.
lot of it.
Yeah,
We could always put it there too, and then if we do have a scenario like that, if it's partially full, then maybe we send more letters out.
but how long is that dumpster gonna sit there
We
though?
don't wanna
But
let
I
it
think
sit
this
there.
letter is a good letter if we just send it out to a lot more people, like if we reach a lot more people and be like, hey, we've got 2 dumpsters here and there.
Yeah.
It-
Like a targeted section of town
Yeah.
maybe, and not just everybody, because,
Yeah.
we pick and choose, and I don't know. I think we should pick a section. and-
Because I think everybody, all of us have addresses of houses that are blighted that aren't around Casman that this could go to,
Mhm.
so.
And I know specifically the police department's got the list of people that they've been trying to work with, trying to clean up their yards, and, they've been the cases where chiefs told us, it's not blight, the person's saying it's not blight, but, maybe having this free opportunity and giving them the letter maybe nudges them a little bit.
Has anybody really, when I drove around Casman, I really didn't pay any attention. I really only focused on Casman. Has anybody really driven around that neighborhood to see how it looks?
Well, there's a house across from the side of Casman that's really hips. I
There's
know
plenty
the
of blight in
neigh-
that neighborhood. There's plenty in that neighborhood.
Because
Yeah.
I didn't pay any attention, I guess.
And
I was
don't you
focused.
think if we're at Casman and we're cleaning up, that maybe everybody else will feel like maybe they wanna start cleaning up too? I mean, I don't know. I get more motivated when I see other people doing things.
I don't know, just my perspective is if you have a dumpster and you do enough public notice and advertising, I don't think you're gonna have a hard time filling that dumpster up regardless of where it's at.
Which could be another reason to get multiple.
Like how
But
big?
I think April, May is key because it's spring. The officers are going out now to we've done blight enforcement throughout the winter, but really ramping up the efforts now. And people are starting to look at the yards, and I know me personally, I've been to the dump once already, because it's springtime. I think people are gonna be looking to get rid of stuff in the beginning of spring rather than waiting till midsummer or late summer.
I mean, you know, if it's a
Okay.
small or a big one?
So they have to submit a request, so I need to know when we want the dumpster delivered, they're placing it, when we want it removed, and how big. So I don't know what size dumpsters come in, I don't know, so.
Yeah, I don't know the dimensions, but I would assume we'd want the big rectangular, yeah.
Thinking.
It's what, like a 30-foot?
Well, if it's free,
That's probably.
we want the biggest we can get,
Yeah.
the longest we can get. And
Well,
it's just a matter of determining where we can put that.
In the parking lot and,
if they'll let us do that.
yeah.
Kids are still in school till, when do you think? They're not gonna be done by May 4th.
No.
June.
What day is May 4th? A
Thursday.
Okay,
So they would have to drop it off on the 3rd,
okay.
and then we
Um,
gotta figure out where we want it over there, if that's what we're doing.
Well, they don't really have a parking lot, do they?
Well,
No.
isn't there parking by the playground,
Inside there, you mean?
outside the fence?
It's just a fenced in whole area, it's just.
I
a-
thought on,
I parked there, where did I park?
Ramsdale Street, is that the street? Wasn't there, it's not a parking lot, but it's,
Parking spaces.
yeah,
Park,
yeah.
yeah, like in the gravel on the side of the road. it's
Correct.
probably-
So
Correct.
if we did get permission, let's say, to put the dumpster there for, we only wanna keep it for like maybe that day and a couple more days, right? Like a day or so, I mean, if they can't get it together by then. And then maybe target around there, but not just around, I mean, it has to be a little bit more, don't you think, spread out a little bit more?
And then maybe if we're not having any people fill it, then we start expanding.
You're not gonna be able to regulate who puts trash in that dumpster. And realistically, you're not gonna be able to regulate.
And,
I don't think we need to regulate it. though.
No, I think you
it's more about like letting those people know that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not gonna be able to prevent everybody from abiding by the rules
Mm-hmm.
either, but.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to, if nobody fills it up on the 4th, I mean, we're not gonna be able to send letters out and say, hey, use this
Yeah,
dumpster before.
and my thought was maybe
it up.
knocking on some doors too, but,
As the police officers are out there doing their enforcement, which is now,
yeah.
right? We can keep, putting the public message out there that, hey, if you're in this neighborhood, just understand that in the beginning of May, there's gonna be a public dumpster. So if you can't afford, if you have to wait by then, just know this is coming, and we can put it out on Facebook and whatever else we can put it out, other platforms, let them know this is a project the NRBC is doing. Oh, by the way, here's also a dumpster for the neighborhood.
Well, maybe that would look good for us to do that.
Are the addresses that you have available to the committee?
What's that? Say again?
Yeah. Are the addresses that you're working on available to the committee?
Yeah, absolutely. Just we're careful. We're not going to name specific addresses here, so.
I mean, if you wanted to contact them about the dumpster.
So are you thinking to send this out then around that area again, or?
I think we need to decide if, first of all, if we're gonna do the dumpster and do it on that same day in that same area as a commission. And then we can work with chief on sending it, or having the police officers have this letter and be able to hand it out to some of the people, and they might not be in that area, so that's kind of what we need to
Well, I think
decide.
they should be in that area, and
I
then
do
we
too.
do a different targeted area
Right.
for a different one.
I agree.
That's my theory.
And I
Clean
think
up
if-
one section at a time.
Yeah, and I think if a dumpster is there, it'll look like a big spring cleaning project.
And the word will spread a little bit, and
And then maybe if we're looking for another dumpster and we do another section, then we contact the foundation. Because I know that they said that they would look at maybe helping us with a dumpster.
That's good.
I guess, do you think there's enough people in that vicinity? I don't know how many blocks we want to go that we could have the officers deliver that letter and we'd be successful filling the one dumpster.
Gosh, you could just go down Vine Street and it's.
I don't know about officers delivering the letters.
Thought we were mailing them.
Or mailing them, yeah. Or officers providing the addresses.
Yeah, absolutely. We can, you know, again, just, it's part of better off the record, but we have, our GIS mapping system is color coded for that reason, so you can look at the map and say, oh, here's the whatever dots, whatever color they are, that's blight, that's junk. This is structure, this is cars, so, we just kind of ramped our efforts up, so I'm looking for the officers next couple of weeks to update that information, but we still have that. I mean, you can drive around a block and see people need things out of their backyard to use a dumpster, so I think it's a good idea that if we're having this project, this cleanup, to also have the dumpster, because we're gonna be advertising about the cleanups, why not advertise the dumpster, and so.
Who will send out those letters? Mary?
Say again?
Would Mary send out those letters? I don't know, I'm just asking, who would send out the letters to who?
Probably work with Kelly on.
We probably could, we can find the resources to send letters out, we can establish
Have to, okay.
addresses.
Okay.
Okay.
Know where we're supposed to place the dumpster.
So I don't know if that decision can be made today, but maybe, I mean, here. Maybe if someone I'd be more than happy to give some time today to go recon it and see where the best place to put a dumpster is. Do we have any limitations on the size dumpster that they're donating?
She just said to give me to give her the information, and she'll put in submit the request.
I would be more than happy to go with anyone to drive around, just put eyes on the scene and say, hey, let's put it here. The only thing is if it's on a public road, it needs to be lit all 24 hours a day, so we have to have it illuminated at night, so it's not a hazard. But we can probably go and put our eyes on that area and figure it out pretty quickly, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
I would like to contact her today with all the information, just to make
Yeah.
sure, because if they're not gonna donate it, then
Right.
we gotta figure out what
So-
we're doing.
Do we have to contact Casman to let them know?
Yeah, I was
After
gonna call
we
them,
can?
yeah.
Okay.
And maybe either point of contact between Casman and okay, all right. So at lunch today, I am open, so if someone wants to go with me, jump in my truck, we can get this thing figured out
Yeah,
pretty
I'm
quickly.
I'm available.
Okay, let's just get that done and so we can put that thing to bed.
Sweet. Okay.
And
And
then the scope of work, Jermaine, are you doing that?
I just think it's, I mean, I don't think there's anything else besides painting and landscaping.
so my thought was, and this is later on in the agenda too, I thought maybe we could schedule a work session a couple weeks from now, and we could just go out there and kind of work on that. And then between the 24th and the community service day, all of us can work on trying to get materials if we need them.
Okay. So the work session proposed just for this project alone?
That's
Okay.
how I intended it. We could do other things too.
No, but, okay. So we'll need a scope, that way we know what we're asking volunteers to do ahead of time. They might,
But, yeah, right.
gotcha,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I think it's just weed whacking, maybe some pressure washing, and then painting, like
Sure.
planting some flowers, yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
the landscaping stuff and the painting,
It would be
we
nice.
would need to know how much and.
And it would be nice to get some, something down on the playground, because that's really needs help. Some
Like the
mulch.
mulch or.
Yeah, I don't know if they
mulch.
really use it though, like,
But the kids
isn't it?
do in the neighborhood.
Okay.
I talked to one of the neighbors.
Okay.
And the kids
Okay.
in their neighborhood all come there, so it would be nice to spruce that up. if
And
we
there's
could
not,
do
there's
it.
not really a park in that neighborhood, correct? Am I thinking correctly? The nearest one would be what? Morton? If you go, okay.
So the
Wow,
little
I didn't
kids
even
come
think
there and
about
play, so it
Reed's
would be nice
Park.
to have that spruced up if we're doing all of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have all the commissioners had a chance to put eyes on that school and what the project might be and, okay.
yeah, these were all the same things I thought too. Thought that front area, as long as Casman was okay with that area where it looks like flowers and plants are supposed to be, but it's all bare.
And then-
They're okay with that, then,
For the work session, whenever we're gonna have it, just again, one of the problem-solving issues was last time is a pressure washer, we have to find a source of water.
yeah.
That was an issue last time, we overcame it, so just know that we probably need some advance notice to figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know if there's too much that we would use it for there.
Just make sure they have an outside spigot, yep, just making sure, again, that was the only thing we had to overcome last time, we overcame it just fine, but just learning from the past, right?
If you're gonna talk to Casman, could you ask about that?
This is Thursday.
Okay. So it sounds like we're good with the public notice. You, Josh, you said, we could work internally with city staff to figure out how we're gonna send the letter out.
We can get it figured out. yeah.
Okay, and then the list of addresses, do you need any of our help?
I think we can come up with it in short notice.
Okay,
Yeah. It's just really drive around with your eyes and then using our GIS mapping system and so.
okay. So we're thinking, and then our discussion on dumpster resulted in one large dumpster at Casman. Jermaine's working on coordinating where with Chief Glass.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do it on that same day. When are we gonna pull it? You said that was the other thing you needed, right?
I would probably pull it on that Monday, the 8th.
So Thursday through Monday?
Yeah.
So they have the weekend?
Okay.
Does everybody agree with that?
I just need some direction from the commission here is how far of a, how far do you want us to look to advertise or to contact homeowners? My thought would be keep it simple and go north to 8th Street, or do you leave that to my judgment?
I think we leave it to your judgment,
Okay.
honestly.
Okay. Problem solved.
Yeah. The worst that could happen is we could get to a point where the dumpster has too much.
But then we
and then
really
we may
fulfilled.
communicate
Yeah.
getting another dumpster, right?
Because the reality is, if the dumpster gets filled, even if it gets filled by people who are not in the area, that would otherwise be blight in someone's yard. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yeah. Then we could figure out how to deal with the blight that's at the dumpster.
Do we anticipate this project creating debris that we would use that dumpster for, or will we put it in lawn bags for the DPW? Do we know?
I'd say
I
lawn
I would do lawn bags.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fill it up with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So am I right in assuming that the work session will be at the school
That's proposed, yep.
on the 24th?
Yep, we'll
Okay.
vote on that, yep.
What time are you thinking?
Let's carry on with the service day first, and then we'll get to that just to make sure, but, so it sounds like we're good on dumpster. So volunteers now, so I can work with Mary on sending out our volunteer, email, and then, I think all of us should try to continue getting volunteers and, you know, for those that are on other commissions too, maybe mention it to them.
What is our targeted amount based on the scope of work?
I think it'd be probably nice to have maybe 15 people.
That's what I was thinking.
What happens if we get 30?
That's perfect.
Are we twiddling thumbs, or we just delegate and work a little bit smooth? Okay, all right, so we're okay. We're not concerned about getting too many volunteers, right?
No.
Okay, cast a wide net. I know the first one we had said.
Yeah, but I mean, just looking around the fence alone, it's got this much all over.
Yeah, it's gonna take some
I mean, it's gonna take time.
Okay, all right, so there's some,
Definitely.
My contact at Casman too said that some of the kids might be wanting to help
Nice.
with that, so. And then I let my office know that we're doing it this day, so.
we can advertise it internally, citywide, for city staff.
And I told the guys at my office too, if they have lawn equipment or if they're coming, to bring whatever they wanna use to help us, shovels or
We
weed
mentioned it.
whackers.
We mentioned it at council meeting last week too, and then, I did talk to the newspaper, and he's waiting for me to call him to discuss the community service day, and he said he'd put a little write-up in the paper about it. So. we should-
And volunteer-wise, how do we overcome that with, where would we say, they have to be 18, or where do we land on that? What's our,
I think we did say 18.
We did.
Okay.
Oh, but then we
But
talked
then
about
we talked about per,
Yeah, I would
Per-
say the
yeah.
waiver has a spot on it
correct.
for
Right.
parents to sign if
Oh.
someone's
Yeah,
under
we
18.
changed that.
good.
And I'll post it on Manistee Proud too.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So is it going on the city's social media?
Yep,
So then I'll just share it.
yep.
Okay.
Okay. I'll let you know when when that gets posted.
And so this is really, what is this thing? This is 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away, so we should really start ramping up and reaching out now for volunteers. Is that an accurate assessment? Okay.
Do you need a bunch of the waivers then if you're gonna have Casman kids? Maybe they should have that in advance, so that way their parents can sign off on those. Okay, that's pretty positive. I think we'll get some good volunteers. I know a couple of the volunteers who did the last time will come again, and I'm sure most of us will want to volunteer. So then, now just going back to the budget. So if we're all in agreement that we can use that $895 towards this project, then, you know, we don't really know how much of that's gonna get spent from it, but as long as we're all in favor to use that budget towards it, we can.
I think so, but I think that we need to say what we're gonna use it for, not just somebody go buy a bunch of stuff and then come back and say, here's it. You know what I mean? I think we need to.
But just to be clear, if you buy anything, you gotta be with me.
Yeah.
Just the way the budget's set up for that, so just be clear on that point.
So,
Just-
so then we can I will make a motion right now that we can use the remaining budget towards the project for landscaping, paint materials, and if we need like lawn bags, stuff like that.
Okay,
And then on our work session, whenever we decide to do the work session, maybe we can go and get that stuff that day. Cause we'll have it.
yeah, I
fresh.
think after that work session, you're gonna have specifics going, this is the type of paint, this is the type of wood chips, this is the type of A, B, and C. And I would grab whomever, I think last time Kelly and I went to the shopping, grab whomever and just get those materials or create a path to make them available on that evening.
Right,
Okay,
so I made that motion,
I'll second.
and we can vote.
Lucas Richardson.
Yes.
Jermaine Sullivan.
Yes.
Kathleen Grabowski.
Yes?
Kelly Greavy.
Yes.
Mary Kay Wilcox.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And just to keep in mind, again, not to beat the horse, but July 1, if city council approves the budget as is, or approves our budget, these monies are in that, so we will have money July 1. If the budget, again, I don't know if it's gonna get approved or what's gonna happen between now and then, but I'll keep this board informed as to what happens with those funds. But if it gets approved as is, those monies will be available July 1, again, to June 30th of next year, so we can kind of plan accordingly.
Okay. Any more discussion on the community service day?
So someone's gonna give us a finalized letter that we can mail.
I guess, yeah, is there any comments on the notice right now? I thought it was
Yeah,
fine how it
It
was.
was fine.
I see two things so far.
Yep.
On the second bullet point, I think it would read better if it said only contacts
you.
from the exterior, as opposed to at the end
Contents.
putting our only
Yeah.
allowed.
She did, I'm sorry.
I'm just, yeah.
If you don't mind changing
I'm
that.
sorry, I didn't hear you.
On the second bullet point, if we move the only to if it says only contents from the exterior of your home are allowed as opposed to are only allowed, I just think it reads easier. Okay, I can make that change. Thank you.
And then what do you want me to figure out, this probably shouldn't be on, do you want this on police letterhead or city of Manistee letterhead?
Probably put it on police letterhead.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do blight enforcement.
okay.
I mean, we could,
Okay.
I mean, can we have an NRBC letterhead? I don't know, I mean.
I think it probably would be received better if it's on the city of Manistee letterhead. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's city of Manistee, it's the logo and it has all of our city staff. It might be confusing if you marry the concept of the police department and NRBC together, if it says police and then NRBC and, just a recommendation, I'll do whatever you want, but,
Sounds like everybody else agrees with that too, right?
okay, all right.
I think that, a dumpster will be provided. I think we need to put at Casman somewhere in there so they know
Okay.
where it's at. don't you think?
So I think at noon today, we'll figure out the location, and then we can put as specific as possible in the letter so they know exactly where the dumpster is. Yeah.
I'll see if we can run in and maybe talk to Cindy and see where they want it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to comment and say I like how this letter is not, it's addressing blight, but it's not saying blight, because I think those who, you know, have been fighting with the police department would probably see that and be like, oh, I don't have blight, and then turn it away. So I think the fact that it doesn't say that is a really good thing. Keep it simple. I like it. Okay. Any more discussion? Previous meetings, we've talked about scheduling another blight tour. This could be maybe that same work session or another time. What's everybody's thoughts on that?
I will be in New Orleans the 22nd through the 29th. So,
Okay.
If this group can land on a date and time, they seemed pretty flexible last year, so it doesn't have to be on the work session. So if this group can come up with a consensus with everyone's work schedule, what works best, I can go to the ride with that date and time, so.
Why don't we just do it soon, so we can keep moving on with what we wanna do?
Do we want to do it on that same day though, the work session?
I don't think you need to wait
Have to
till
do
the work session to do it.
Okay.
So is there a day or time that works out best for this group? I'll start with my schedule. Usually towards the end of the day is less meetings. Friday afternoons are usually better for me as far as obligated meeting wise. That's when things are the thinnest. Now I'm pretty flexible. I don't know.
How about Friday?
How about the 14th, which is, right?
This Friday?
It doesn't work for me, I'm sorry.
How about let's look at how about the following Friday?
21st. That works for me.
Jermaine, are you here?
Yeah.
What time would work for those who work during the day? What time is best?
You wanna do 4, 3:30, 3?
three would work.
Three?
Good, yeah.
3?
3 o'clock on April 21st.
And then if something happens where they're not available, I'll communicate that to you, and you can communicate to the rest of the commission. We'll just go again. We'll just keep going, so.
So, Jermaine, since you're off on the 22nd through the 29th, do we want to propose the work session?
No, don't move
Different
it
day?
around me. I will
Okay.
get everything that you guys need from me. I will get it to you.
Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion for the blight tour, April 21st, 3 p.m. to schedule that. All in favor?
Hi.
Okay.
Aye. Does that have to be considered a work session probably, right?
The tour,
Yeah, because we're all together.
I don't know, as a city attorney advisor, you just can't talk about things that you could take the purpose of the tour is to see blight, understand things, so the discussion is more important. If it makes you more, if you believe it gives you more latitude and transparency to call that a work session, we can do it and advertise as such. Just know that members of the public probably aren't gonna come on the bus with us, and that's, you know, I don't know how that would work anyways.
Okay.
So, I'll leave it to you, Mr. Chair, to figure out the logistics of that.
All right, I'll reach out to George and ask him about that.
All right.
Get back to you.
What if we made a motion to do an annual blight tour in this committee? Because then we don't need to have permission. It's just like how in the Parks Commission, they have their annual parks tour.
Right, that's what I think this is. Just, again, we wouldn't have any discussions on anything that would be an actionable item.
So could I make a motion that we do an annual blight tour for this committee?
Sure.
at
Yeah.
a specific date, so that would be
Could we
the
do like
third.
one in the fall and one in the spring, just to put it on there, whether we do it or not, just to cover ourselves in case?
Yeah, okay, so I make a motion, we do 2 blade tours a year, one in the spring, one in the fall.
I'll second that.
Lucas Richardson,
Yes.
Joanne Sullivan,
Yes,
Kathleen Grabowski,
Yes,
Kelly Reedy,
Yes,
Mary Kay Wolf.
Just a second, sorry, I'm just making sure I write this stuff down. Okay. So now discussion on the public education letter drafted by Kelly. Last meeting, you wanted this added to the agenda for discussion, Kelly, so I'll let you take it away.
Is this the one that says our neighbors? Is that the one we're talking about?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
again, that was just something that I thought would be educational, informational for the public if it were in the paper and if it was on social media. I feel that we as the commission should already know what blight is. I don't think that we should be asking them. I think we should be telling them what the ordinances are and that they need to abide by them. I feel we lose credibility if we don't know what we're already setting out to do.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think that we could take bits and pieces of this and put it on social media and then a little blurb in the paper, you know. It would be really nice if the paper would give us, like every month or something, just a little section that we could fill. I don't know if that's a possibility.
I think they're gonna make us pay for it.
They will.
I can ask
Yeah.
them about that.
I thought maybe they would do it because of
They could.
their good heart.
They
But-
could, I mean, the public stuff is a little easier for them to write about, I think.
But you
without
could approach
charging
them,
us.
and the worst they could say is no, right?
But it would be kind of
I can ask them that when I call them.
That, I think we could put some of these things in there, and I think that would help the community also to know that we're out there all the time, you know?
So rather than throwing all of this into an article, you know, at once, maybe you're suggesting doing a little, you know, factoids,
Well, if-
one at a time, sort of thing.
That's just my suggestion. 'Cause
Yeah.
If we do this, this is gonna probably cost us some money,
Right.
right? I'm assuming, you
Unless,
know?
unless they would do it for free.
Right. So if they didn't, and, you know, if they were able to just to give us a small area, we could just take each section somehow, and, you know, Kelly could put it together.
And it could be similar, you know, combined with, you know, our surveys too. You know, we've talked about maybe a community survey, and we got those questions, and maybe we could throw a couple questions in there, and maybe they either respond to the paper or they respond to us directly from that. Could be a way to get that word out.
Well, I think it's great. I think she did a good job. We just need to get that information out there somehow. And at least by snipping it here and there, maybe that would be good, and put it on our social media also, and.
I think the letter is really, really well written. I read it, I like it. It also kind of pertains to my life because I've been living by a problem for years, and I think it's gotten to the point now where we've just given up. It's like, we go outside to walk the dog, when he starts with his shit, we say, shut up. We're tired of not saying anything and being the good people. And we basically, even when Jermaine's been over, you got a nice front yard, but you're incapable of using it.
Yeah, and that's not fair.
And we're
so,
behind,
you
we
know.
just have given up.
Yeah.
and there's no place for us to go. At this time, we're hoping that maybe something builds in town in the future that we can go. But it's just been, we've had to live inhabited by it because there's no other avenues we can take but to live with it. And I think this letter says it's not always about the person with the blight. It's about the people who are affected by the person with the blight. When twice now this weekend he tried to walk the dog and it's, I mean, I'm not making fun, but he just simply has to say, please, shut up. I'm walking my dog, minding my own business. And we can't use our front yard. We can't hardly drive by. We go that way instead. We've just given up our life because there's no answers.
And in 2 things that I've done this past week, I've had people approach me and say the exact same thing.
Yeah,
That-
I give up.
That they are limited, they're doing everything they're supposed to do as a citizen that is abiding by the ordinances, and their lives are being affected by their neighbors, and they're,
And then there's just no way out of it.
right.
You lose half of your home or your living space, your value, everything, and they go on and blabbering to everybody and tying shit to their trees and running lines and crap, coffee cups hanging here and there, and you have to adjust yourself because you go crazy otherwise.
So if we get it out there, like I said, on social media.
Yeah,
of
could you
some
put
sort,
that
you
paragraph
know,
out there first?
You know, we can definitely do all these different
Yeah.
little things so people can see that.
Yeah.
Get educated from us.
Right.
So if they know it from us and get educated each month or each week or bi-weekly, whatever it might be.
Yeah. I mean, we're done, we're beaten down, and we're done. We're done fighting. We're too old to keep fighting.
I'll make a comment, and I'll play devil's advocate a little bit on this. As a person that would be receiving this letter or reading it, and they do have some of these issues, I would say that some of this, I think some of this is really good. You know, we might want to replace, there's a sentence or two in the first paragraph we might want to replace with our actual purpose statement from from the ordinance. But the next 3 or 4 paragraphs, I think someone that actually does have blight could take that as it's really direct, and it's like almost like saying they're a problem. And even though it is a problem, but I think they could take it as a negative letter, and then they would rebel.
It is a negative letter.
Right, and we
You
want to be
ruined my
positive.
life. You are a negative person.
I get that,
I have no sympathy whatsoever.
but
And the law and the.
there wouldn't be any
is on your
resolution
side.
from seeing this, is what I'm saying, from that person.
Well, maybe that's why if we just do a little snippet of
Right.
something.
Yeah,
and
like,
remove some of it.
If you choose to live within the city limits, there's social, legal, and moral obligations to your neighbors and the community members. There are. I could do things that upset my neighbor. You know, I could do a lot of things that upset my neighbor, but I choose not to. Because why would I want to do that?
I think that you could take these paragraphs as they're written and just take one of the, like, one every
Right.
week and put it on social media. Like the exact paragraph of, like, paragraph 2, a person could choose to live and do business anywhere, blah, blah, blah. Put that on social media. The second paragraph next week, like, change it up, like,
Yeah.
put them out there, like, separately to, like, continuously keep doing
But
it.
always have something
Yes.
out there.
Which, actually, you have something for.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're at, like.
I want to talk about
Oh,
social
oh,
media.
yeah.
on this?
It's my turn.
Okay.
Did the people you talked to, Kelly, did they just give up trying?
Yes. They're given up, they're frustrated, they do not know what else to do.
I think we could put this letter in the paper, but I think I would use all of these paragraphs and put them on social media once a week.
Something to keep in mind, if you're gonna use this as a public education document, which it looks like you are because you're citing the ordinances, you need to, we can have a hyperlink, but then we can't cut and paste your ordinances, it'd be 30 pages long. So this document probably would be better as a digital document we can put on social media, but if you put this in print in the newspaper, you can't click on the hyperlink in the newspaper, so we have to figure out a strategy. Maybe we can say see city ordinances, blah, blah, but just something to keep in mind. I personally think the letter is good, the tone's great, but I think you need to shorten it, because no one's gonna read the whole thing. It's great, the whole thing's great, no one's gonna read the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
Just-
why I think if you take a paragraph and put it on social
Okay.
media with the link to the blight ordinance, because, yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I wouldn't read this whole thing either if I got it in the mail. Like, I'd read like the first maybe 2 paragraphs and then I'd be done.
Yeah.
But if you take these paragraphs and put them out there one at a time so they see them and they keep blasting with the same kind of, because it all kind of says the same thing, it just, each one says it a little differently, like they'll catch on.
And then if Lucas could get us something in the paper, then we could put that same thing there too. So who doesn't see social media, will see the newspaper.
Yeah,
Is one ordinance too long? I mean, yes, I read.
One would be, or, yeah, but there's 3 or 4 that apply to
Right, but if
blight.
you put one ordinance on at a time, like she was saying, is it too long to do that?
On social media?
No, in the paper,
Yeah, it's multiple pages long. I mean, it's gonna cost a lot of money
yeah,
that we probably no longer have in the budget.
yeah.
But you can, if you put something in paper, you can see Manistee City Ordinances, Chapter 650, 1054, you can just list them, they, you know.
Yeah.
But what I think is the best thing for public education, make it the easiest for people, so that's why digital is better. So if you have a Facebook page, you could click a hyperlink,
yeah.
that would take you to the actual ordinance, just making it easy.
So I guess I'll ask, when I call the paper about what it's gonna take to do that. Excerpts, I could even ask them if they could make social media posts for us, or even share, the city of Manistee, I don't know what they're comfortable doing. Maybe they could even put, because I know you see on Facebook, what the Manistee News Advocate does, but I don't know if they're all necessarily articles that are written in the newspaper too. Maybe it could be separate.
And is that something that you can just share with us, so we don't have to keep waiting till the next
Mhm.
meeting, and that we can just keep moving forward and start, sending things?
I would ask that someone would be the, person that would spearhead this though, from the commission to
Spearhead
feed,
which way?
to feed what we're gonna be putting into the posts or into the
I
newspaper.
would be willing to do that.
You would be okay with that? Okay. So I'll work with newspaper.
And then we'll approve whatever she's going to put in.
Yeah, so,
We'll all see it.
so then on each agenda, we could say what the next upcoming post is gonna be, and you would be able to prepare that before that meeting.
So you're saying, though, to put this in the newspaper with just bulleted ordinances as to where to find them, but do one at a time for social media? Is that what you said?
I would do one of these paragraphs at a time on social media and then have the link to the blight ordinance
Okay,
on it. Like, I
That
mean,
pertains to that.
yeah, I don't even think that these need to be rewritten to be put on social media. I think it's just a
Cut
quick,
it off like there,
I think if we did that too, I would say my statement from earlier would probably be eliminated, because when we would be targeting specific paragraphs, maybe it's short, sweet, and simple, and then maybe someone's like, okay, but when you keep hitting the nail over and over again, someone might get frustrated with reading it. So I think that would help the reading of the document as well.
So does this just go on the city's social media with our little blurb,
I would think so, yeah, so there's a process that goes through. Kelly McCall is one that posts this, so once this commission approves it,
So I think,
out there.
I think you should bring up your idea because it kind of goes all together.
Okay, so I have a idea that, we do social media also. But my idea was to always, like every other week, be in front of everybody, knowing that here we are, the NRBC, and what are we gonna share? So we would share what you have, but we would also share what's happening that particular month in our community. So for instance, let's just say we're having, a trash pickup, so we would wanna put that in there. Let's say we're going to do, some
So like every first week of the month, it would have that same post, right?
correct, but we would also have anything that's happening. So let's say we do one on recycling, you know, we do one on whatever. But is there a way that we probably don't have it, but can we have our own section, our own webpage, or our own something under the city?
So the city.
You're talking about a few different things there. Webpage is different than social media, right? So
Right, that's what I'm asking.
webpage
I'm
is
just
different
asking,
than-
what can we do besides just having a little bit of a spot? Is there something where we could click and maybe we would go to our own website off the city and it'd say NRBC and here's, you know, all the people that are on it, this is what we're doing, this is what we have done, here's our pictures. I mean, is that anything that we can do?
I can ask the question, I'm not the person to answer the question.
Oh, I mean, maybe you could bring it on the screen right now. We have a webpage for our commission
I don't think it's working right now.
on the city website. Some stuff is kind of missing from it right now, but
I don't think that's what she's asking. I think she wants an independent way that they can regulate information and be more relevant. That's what it
Correct,
sounds
so
like.
everybody can say, oh yeah, this is what they're doing, they're, you
Our,
know.
our city website is not updated very often, like that you would, as you would, so the speed in which you would like to put information out sounds more consistent with social media.
Okay,
I don't know if I can get out.
for example, so what we do for construction is similar to what you're saying. Every week, I make a post on what construction, and you can see it posted on that city latest news. He just passed it, but on the bottom left, it would say construction update this week. And I do it every Monday, so I haven't done it yet today, but that would be where you could see that little NRBC excerpt.
And the city is looking to change all this. That's in the plan, I believe. I don't know what the timeline is for that, so keep that in mind. So website is different than social media, so I guess I can get the website question answered, but just know that
somebody would have to probably.
you're not gonna be able to
monitor.
augment that as regularly as I think would meet your needs.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
So one of us could not do that. One of us could not go out there on behalf of, if we had our own website, we could not go out there and manipulate whatever needs to be
Your
done.
own website or your website within the city of Manistee?
In the city.
I can get you
mean,
an answer. I'm not the person to answer that question. I can
yeah,
get you
I'm
an
just saying,
answer.
if we click there and you get NRBC, you can go right to the website, you know, I'm just asking,
I bet
for
it
one
would have
thing.
to be the city.
Yeah,
Will be a web page. It'd still be our site, right? Be a web page, your own separate web page, correct?
correct,
And then you're also asking if you can have a separate social, Facebook account? Or
correct.
social media? Okay.
Correct. I don't know if that's possible,
I don't
but,
know how we would do that because who would manage it? Because this commission can change, so I don't know if we can do that.
So far, we've used the city of Manistee's social media. And,
But is it-
and when we get a post, I send it to Kelly, she puts it up there within 20 minutes, so. Kelly McCall. It's in government.
right, but
Josh.
then they have to go to government, and so I was thinking just a little bit of a,
Second row, there
Yeah.
it is.
something there.
So that's our webpage right now.
Just listening to her talk, her vision is a little bit more
Yeah.
dynamic.
It's a little bit more, yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't sound like we can do that.
I think that, what you wanna do is more appropriate for social media, not a city website.
Okay.
A website is more static.
Okay,
But I can get you an answer on both.
Okay.
Things to think
Just
about,
nice
who's
to
the
know.
administrator of the site?
Right.
What do you do with public comments? What do you do with archiving? What are the obligations that are, being a public entity to archive those? There's things that you wouldn't normally think about.
right.
Are you gonna, so there's Is it open to the public? Is it a group? You know, some things, some questions that need to be answered. But
Is it too much to ask if we sent something to Mary twice a week to post on social media? Is that
on whose social media?
the city, under the NRBC?
I would ask that goes through Kelly McCall.
Okay,
And she puts it on very quickly, but it sounds like she's, you know, Mary's vision is a separate NRBC Facebook page that she could do other things and share other pages. And that's, I think it's, I'm just trying to hang on to the question. I think
Yeah,
it's a question.
yeah.
So I can certainly run that past and see what some of the challenges would be with that. I mean, I know the challenge would be, but as far as permissions.
Okay, so if not, and we have to deal, you know, with the cities, it would be nice to have something out there like every other week, at least to have something new that we could put out there. When's trash day, something about recycling, something about, you know, what we're doing. I mean, there's a lot of topics we could do.
I agree. One of the driving purposes of consolidating, so the police department no longer has their own Facebook page.
Right.
All the city services went towards one, is so that we can put out more content and be more relevant.
Okay.
If you're not posting every day, people say on Facebook, then you're irrelevant.
Exactly.
So that would be consistent with that, putting information out.
Okay.
I don't know there's I don't know anyone's gonna say, hey, stop putting out stuff at the NRBC. I don't see that as being an issue to the city website. I think we put as much as you want out there.
Okay. I think that would be great. I mean, to do that. So at least we're
I think
up
it's-
to date and we can all share information. So if you have something really good, or either we assign everybody every other week, you know, each one takes something and you send it and, you know.
I agree.
So,
yeah, I think we can,
so this goes back to, we're talking about Kelly putting the public education stuff from the letter into it, so this is kind of the same thing.
Basically, correct. We're just gonna keep filtering it through.
So, is that something maybe you and Kelly could work with Chief on trying to get that stuff out every other week and then?
Sure.
I don't know if we need to really bring it to the commission to vote on what's being posted. Do you think?
If I, respectfully, so the policy of the city is it needs to be approved by the department head to go on social media. If you have to have a commission vote for a post, it's gonna slow down, and I don't think it meets the
That's
vision
my
that you guys
point.
talking about.
You're
I
right,
feel
you're
comfortable
right. Do
communicating
slow.
with Mary and Kelly, say, hey, you wanna put this out this week? Okay, look at it, send it to me, send it on to Kelly, get it out there. I think social media, it needs to happen at that speed. Otherwise, if you have to have an approval, an agenda, and I think you're just gonna, people don't consume information that quickly or that slowly on social media. That's just my, and there's some things you might share that, hey, by the way, there's this event going on, and I think that's kind of what
Just
she's
something,
talking
correct.
about.
Just to keep our name
Oh.
out there and share some good information.
Oh.
I don't know the correct way to go about this, but I'm just gonna say delegate Mary and Kelly to spearhead that
Sure.
part of our program then. Okay. Any more discussion on public education? Next item in new business is scheduling a work session. So I propose Monday, April 24th at 9 a.m. for a work session at Casman Academy to discuss our community service day project.
Is just real quick, 9 o'clock, is that a hard number? Would 9:15 make any difference to this group for that work session? Could I ask that we do 9:15 just because it's a Monday, correct? And
Yep.
just 9:15 would allow me time to get out there.
Sure.
So I'll take a motion. Somebody.
I'll
needs
make
to
that
make a
motion.
A second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
I
Aye.
We'll miss you, Jermaine.
won't be here.
All right, 9:15. All right. Public comment. Hearing none. All right. Go to the order. Jermaine, start. What do you want to go?
Well, I wasn't prepared for you to start with me. I think we should start working on another project for maybe June, like somebody
Just
has
keep
some
'em going,
ideas
yeah.
to start moving this along, so we can, bust out some more projects. And I think that, I don't know when our next meeting is May 8th.
Yep.
Okay, so are we doing meetings like every other week now, since it's not winter, or?
We have nothing scheduled right now, but
Okay.
what's up for discussion, we can,
Okay, so
I
I
know
think
last
May,
year we did every other week in the blight season.
I think May 8th, we need to have a project going, or somebody needs to come up with a project to start for June.
To propose at the May 8th meeting?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So
Okay.
I can skip ahead right now. I did talk to Kendra Remy, who heads up Blossom Boulevard, and I did get some community input on when they do Blossom Boulevard. You know, one thing we could, help Blossom Boulevard and maybe push that in social media as a volunteer thing, because it is beautification. And then during that project, I did get some comment about weeding some of the parking lots and sidewalks next to Blossom Boulevard, because when you drive down the highway, you see all the nice, pretty flowers, but then behind it, you see 3-foot tall, weeds growing through the cracks in the abandoned parking lots and sidewalks. So that could be a project. I think that we could do that at the same time as Blossom Boulevard, which is scheduled right now for May 17th, is what she had told me.
But don't they already have a committee already to do
They
that?
do.
So I'm thinking we should take on something different.
Yeah, we should do something
Let's not
different.
piggyback someone else's, let's spread it so we can do more, yeah.
Then in the May 8th meeting, we can discuss a next project then.
Well-
Maybe we should put something on the calendar at that day too.
Well, I have something I'll just throw out there again, which is the 9th Street Boat Launch. I know that's considered a park, I believe, right? But it does need a lot of work, and people utilize it all the time. And people keep telling me, why don't you ever clean that up? So that's something. My other thought was the corner of Painted Lady and Two Slices. Maybe we could, do something there for them, some flowers, pots or something, I don't know, something to liven their area.
We have some time till the May meeting. Did I see this from this group? Didn't someone put a social media post out there saying, what would you like us to do, and have them comment
Yes.
on Facebook? Have we done that already?
We did that.
Okay.
Yeah. We had one response, and it was the weeding behind Blossom Boulevard.
Should we keep putting that out there? Just put it back out there again? Hey, we're looking at a project in June again. Sometimes you have to keep nudging people. What would you like to see done, type thing?
Or we all just drive around and see what needs to be done too.
Yeah. This
I
Friday.
find some things on our blight tour on April 21st.
Sure. But the 9th Street Boat Launch is, just initial knee jerk is a great idea. That's an area that is utilized by a lot of people. You have to fish to know how many people actually use that, a lot. So I think that's a great idea. It's a matter of what we can impact.
I'll work with Mary on getting the volunteer email out, and then we can also, unless I can just ask Kelly to post it again, that same post, I can do that too. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Kathy?
I know this is a park, but is something gonna be done, between the piers there at the First Street Beach?
Well, we're talking to Swiderski's, but Jeff is going to look into that.
Okay. All right. But if there's any, just manual labor that they could use to help, I'd be available for that. Because I think it's a place where a lot of people go to watch the boats and stuff, and I think it'd be nice to have it spruced up a little. Thank you.
I do want to restate, and I know we all know this, but I think we should still try to focus on neighborhoods, and maybe that's something that gets brought up to the parks. I mean, Kelly's
If-
on the Parks Commission.
Right,
She can
if they need a help, I'll help. If they don't, that's fine. It's my own free time I'm off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Someday there might be an amphitheater there, who knows?
What?
Someday there might be an amphitheater there, who knows?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm not real strong, but I can help more than one committee if you need me.
Mary?
Yeah, I have a couple things. I was given some thought, how about all of us split the town in different sections, and we do one of two things. We do a, so I'll have this split. So let's say Kathy does 12th Street to 6th, the west side.
Okay,
Okay, I'm just saying this. Kelly would do Broad Street to River Street, and Lucas, you would do the north side. That seems like a big thing. But so then Jermaine would take Boyers to 6th, and then I would take 7th to 12th on the east side. Okay. Then what we would do is that's your section of town. So you're gonna go down your street, you're gonna look for blight, you're gonna look for what needs to be, some signage, you're gonna look at maybe lighting, whatever needs to be done, okay? Blight, whatever. Then you're gonna either do a checklist that I have, I have a checklist, you could write that off, or you could download the app, which is that CSEE click.fix, and put it in there. I think that goes to the police, right? And then they have to respond if it's blight. But if it's like signage or something, then we bring it back here, and then we have to give it to who, Jeff or somebody? We make a list or something.
I call in street lights for my neighborhood.
Okay, so I don't know if that's anything you're interested in, but I was trying to think, how are we gonna target all this districts,
And we're talking about neighborhood
Neighborhood.
beautification
Neighbor-
stuff.
Correct, but if
not
you see
blight.
blight, you're
Okay.
gonna
Okay.
report it, cause you're right there,
I love it. I think it's great.
From the highway to Maple
Do
is
you,
what I'm doing.
would you rather
12th Street
use
to
the
6th.
districts that are already established, or are you saying create new districts?
So there's
Yeah,
8.
that's why we broke it up differently. I just, sitting there thinking,
Well, that's a good point, though. That's a good point. We could say, some of those areas might be districts 5 and 6, and, you could do,
Or maybe we need 2 more commissioners.
and we've talked about, at the very beginning of the commission, we could work with those specific blight officers.
That would give you more of a one-on-one with the officers, know the officer. Yeah, it could. Again, I'm not trying to, but, we have officers, we
Because my officers,
have officers in multiple districts.
well, I think even if you overlap your officer, you can still get to know them, right?
No, okay.
I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there.
yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think too, for the streetlights too, if we come up with quite a few areas that need streetlights, then order them, like they don't order them one at a time, it's like a,
Yeah,
Bunch.
and it's so easy.
yeah.
To report them to consumers, you're saying? Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yeah,
But what if we did have
The online process.
yeah.
Oh,
each
no, we
one?
I
can't.
do them because it's so
City.
easy, and they're there like in 2 days.
The city council and open it all up. Doesn't this cover it though?
The whole thing? Yeah, well, I don't know.
That's kind of what I looked at, to see if it would cover the whole.
Yeah, I mean, this would be straightforward.
I don't care, I'm just throwing it out there. So,
It's a great idea.
so whatever we wanna do.
So I would do, I know you keep saying 12th to 6th. That's just from the highway?
On the west side.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, from your
Sure.
west side.
We walk our dog and, him especially, and we get, people see him and come running out of the houses
What's
and
that? I
say,
can't pull it from here. If I had my
"This
email
is-"
on here, I could.
No, so
Do you know how to get there from the internet? You could get on here and we could just, who hasn't seen our GIS system here? Has anybody seen our GIS?
I haven't.
You have? No. Do you think you can pull it up real quick? I don't wanna tie up an otherwise healthy meeting, but I think, that's why I think it'd be so important to use existing and. This is just a snapshot of it. I'll I'm gonna take 3 minutes to go through what I do to the council, just, where to later. This is actually just developed by Lucas, correct?
Yes, yeah.
So if there's problems, we will know.
Okay, good.
Okay.
We use this mapping system for a lot of things, not just blight, but for, net detail.
Oh, right down at the bottom. Yeah, right there. Yeah, perfect.
Thank
And so we broke the city up into 8 categories, you can see, and we color coordinate based on the blight situation there, and officers do the best they can to drone it to keep up to date. I will say, we could do better as far as when things go before, but, and officers are assigned, according to districts, so we don't have 8 officers working, so some officers have 2 districts, so some have split, so, for example, in District 6, which has, a large amount of blight, that actual district is split into 2, and 2 officers have District 6. So we basically allocate resources depending on their needs.
Who has 7, do you remember?
7 is,
R1?
I think that's, no, you would,
Where am I?
no, you mean 7, I think it's Brian Cook. I think Officer Cook
Oh,
has 7.
okay.
Because overall, District 7 has a lower amount of blight.
Okay.
Then 6, I can tell you right now, I can screw off which ones have the most.
What?
But anyways,
What is 8? Where does that go?
maybe zoom in. I believe it's 8th Street is a cutoff. So 8th Street is right across. Let me zoom in here.
That's right.
All the way to where?
City limits. All the way to the water. It jags this way.
So it starts at
Wait.
8th?
So
Oh, to read 21st Street, okay. I thought that was Filer Township.
No, it's not. It goes 8th Street
Oh, God, I get it small.
through the city limits here to Forest Avenue.
It's not touchscreen.
Oh, there.
All right, so.
So anyways, again, it's already established. It doesn't,
So if we did that, what would we do, since there's only
I
5?
think we would take the approach the same way that the officers do, because there's some districts that have a lot more blight.
Okay, so we'd split
So
it.
that'd be like a one person focused on one of those really in-depth blight areas, and then, you know, I'm gonna guess 4 and 7 don't have a whole lot of blight, so maybe one person could tackle 4 and 7.
correct. And I think we double it up that I believe 7 and 8, let me make sure I'm right here, or 4 and 8 have the same officer. 4 and 8 have the same officer. I think I kept 7 solo because it's so big. We split up 6, so we split 6 with 2 officers. Downtown district is a sergeant, and then we have 1 officer District 1, 1 officer District 2. The areas that are, so for District 2 and District 7 who have lesser blight, but we kept it with an officer, we have a night shift officer because there's less daylight to enforce blight, so we use that as well. So if someone wants to be in charge of assigning this, I'd be more than happy to sit down and give my recommendations if we go this path, or if we create a whole new path. It's completely,
What's up to you guys?
If-
I don't care. I'm
Yeah,
just
I mean,
saying.
if we would take districts, I would take 3 and 4 because I'm already doing it now anyway.
downtown and, yep, okay.
I think it's an excellent idea.
Anybody else?
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea.
So
I have the
guess,
most blight in our districts, so.
You do?
Yes.
so what,
I've
Just, oh,
Yeah, and I'm
just
on 7.
take me through what you would see us doing if we're quote unquote taking a district. What's our
Let's just say you went in
objective?
District 1 and you saw some blight, so you're gonna write it down on a list, or you're going to do it on that app.
The see-click fix, yep.
Okay, so that's number 1. Then number 2, you'll look and see, okay, what can we do to beautify it? Anything, you know, you look at that.
Look for projects.
Exactly, and you'll look for lighting, and you'll look for, you know, street signs, you're gonna look for weeds, you know, I mean, just whatever, maybe even some sidewalks that are gonna kill people, you know, there are some dandies, so just those type of things, maybe what could we do to support that neighborhood, maybe they need something, maybe they never thought that there was a child that can't hear and they need a sign, maybe we could help them, you know, there are different things in that that we could do.
So,
What if, go ahead.
go ahead.
What if we took what you just said into consideration about the lights, and we had something that we did every week or however long? So we do lights first, so we all get it together, so we get a discount on the lighting.
So sorry.
Here you go,
So, I don't even know what that is.
microphone.
So I have something like, you know, what does the fences look like, walkways, retaining walls. I mean, there's a lot of retaining walls that are just, you know, looking to see if we can do something. So there's a lot of different, what I did is I just went out there and looked to see what blight was. There's a walking checklist. I mean, there's different things. What if I put something together and then maybe, you know, every other week or once a month or something, you go through your neighborhood and write it down and bring it to our next meeting, and then, you know, we can put a list together of how many, whatever needs to be done.
It might save effort, because our police department does that. It might save effort if we look at that list and say that's already being addressed by the police department versus doubling up efforts.
Well, that was my question about, is this about beautification or blight? Because my guess is a lot of times if we are gonna report blight, the response from the police department is gonna be like, thanks for the reporting, but we're already taking care of it.
Then they can tell us
Yeah.
the reporting.
Oh, sure.
I think the rest of it should be beautification, like, if there's an area over here, like, on Michael Street, maybe by the church, behind the church, if that needed something, we could add that to something that we wanna tackle, so we're moving along.
So we just generate a project list,
Yes,
basically.
based on our areas, and then we pick which ones we wanna do.
Exactly.
If
I
we
think
could
you
knock
just
some of
look
them
to
out.
see what needs to be done in your
And I
area.
think, can you zoom out again, Josh? So I think that if we, like if we give you District 1 and 2, Kelly takes 3 and 4, Kathy has District 7, and then Mary and I can split 5, 6, and 8. And then if there's areas that have streetlights out, make a list. If there's areas that need streetlights, make a list, and then we can just compile that at our next meeting and be like, hey, give them this.
3 and 4, okay.
3 and 4.
Just real quick, as you're writing that down, is an educational piece since we have it up, but our GIS system we use for enforcement, this is a snapshot of it. This is all entered by the officers and it's color coded. So the outline of a property tells you what type of property it is. Long-term rental, I don't know, how to bring this up, this is different than mine, but
Hit the legend on the, yeah,
So-
the third one on the left.
Able to see this? No, public can't see this, right?
no.
Excuse me.
Can the commission see it somehow or not?
If you come to my office, you can see, I can't give you access to the
Okay.
system.
Yep.
I worry about somebody accidentally
Yep.
deleting something. But I'm more than happy to go through it, but, so, you see, let's say for this property, for example, here, the outline is owner unoccupied, red is severe structure. So this tells you at a snapshot what is plaguing or what is impacting a neighborhood. Green is resolved, so it just allows us to see. And so when we talk about letters, Mary, once this is updated for the year, we should be able to see, okay, well, look, at this area has this type of blight, that type of blight, things like that. So we've just begun to ramp up our blight efforts to update this information. We use this GIS system to drive a lot of things. Identification of residents for grant applications. Enforcement's the most important because it allows us to journal. Blight enforcement is very labor intensive, so it's easy to lose track of, especially if you have other functions that you serve. So it allows us to journal things, update things, officer to enter notes. This allows for a lot. And then
So-
once the,
Could we each have a snapshot, a colored snapshot of our district to see all of this?
yeah, I think I have that already, yeah. So anyways, that's just an educational piece on our GIS system and how our officers use that.
So do you want me to put together a beautification checklist, so we're all on the same page? At least you can look at it and, you know?
Yeah, that'd be great.
And you guys can tell me if you don't like it, we can change it.
So I'm just looking at the app right now. So you have to select a category, and one of them could be like beautification, like NRBC beautification project or something like that. Maybe we could get with the city manager on adding that. And then what we would do is we would just use the app, walk around that neighborhood, or whenever we see something, take the picture of it, and then it'll just already be organized.
But
for
who would
us.
be responsible? So this app is for transparency and to hold public official. So who from the public is in charge of remedy beautification? Non-blight issues. Who from the public would be in charge of that? How would that work?
Like who would receive the response?
Yeah, so who's,
Would be you.
Yeah, it would be this commission. I mean,
Right.
No, I'm talking you.
yeah,
but you don't have access to C-Clicks Fix, do you?
the whole public has access to
No,
report.
you don't understand what I'm saying.
Complaints.
So you report something, say if a public fence looks bad,
Right.
or something you think a sidewalk needs flowers.
Right.
Well, who's in charge of remedying that? Because, for example, if you report blight or any type of category under the police department, it goes to my 2 sergeants.
Right.
They're in charge of assigning to an officer reporting back to them, they report back to the public.
Yeah.
So in case of
I think that'd be
beautification,
me.
who would be in charge of that?
I think that would be me, and then we bring up the.
I think that's a bad idea. You're gonna get flooded with stuff that we're not gonna be able to answer. I don't think.
Well, there's only one way to use the app, and it's to get that. But no, I don't think that specific thing would be for the community. I think that'd be for us, wouldn't it? Like we would
No.
go out there and do that?
Well, it's a time frame. So, for
Yeah.
example, if our officer, we set the time frame. So if our officers don't do it in a certain amount of time, it sends me an overdue notice. And I contact the sergeant and say, why is this overdue? And that app, as you know, from a blight standpoint, sometimes it takes months to fix, so that the app is a little cumbersome in that regard. But just some things you need to think about if we have to, how that's processed. Now, if it's public, so if the sidewall looks bad or like a public fence looks bad, okay, that might be a DPW thing. If it's a blight, that's a PD thing. But what about when you start getting outside those things, beautification projects? I don't know, so you say, well, this needs to be weeded right here. I don't know who would do that. And so I don't know, I don't want that to go someplace and just die or not go anywhere and then never get resolved.
So how about if we just do the easy checklist
Yeah.
and then just bring it to the next meeting? That would make life simple, then we know who to go to and who to distribute that and who's gonna take care of it.
Yeah, I think that could be good, because then you could say a checklist, okay, she says, well, my district A, B, and C, okay, this is DPW, this is police, this is, okay.
I think that would be easy.
I think it's a great perspective.
Well, we've talked about
I
in
just
previous
have to tweak
meetings
it.
too,
See.
having some sort of program anyway for people to request our commission to do a beautification project, so, and that's kind of been open-ended.
On our social media
Mm-hmm.
page, as a social media, a little blurb.
I mean, we did that and we didn't get any responses, so that's why I'm just trying
I
to.
think you just keep pushing it out.
If we think that I'm gonna get flooded by doing that, I agree, I mean, that's not gonna be efficient and we're not gonna
I
be
just-
successful, I'm just
not
trying to make a,
showing ourselves
an avenue
enough.
for a program to do that,
That's
you know?
why.
Yep.
Okay,
But I think you're gonna,
so can we go over our sections again? So Kelly's doing,
3 and 4.
okay. Lucas, you're doing 1 then?
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
And then
Kathy's
Jermaine?
7, and then we're 5, 6, and 8.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question on that one that you had highlighted on the corner of 3rd and,
I just closed it, but yeah.
so it says last
There's 1 and
contact
2.
was 4
Janet, or
of 22.
Jermaine and me
I
are
can
doing
look at
5,
that.
6, and 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I can look at it.
Kathy's doing 7.
It's very likely that we had that and our officers aren't good at updating when litigation.
Well, and it just said they were selling the building, and that's not true.
Yeah. So again, some of these properties, this is a very labor-intensive property when buildings sell, and our officers working 12-hour shifts tracking all that, especially in some of the heavier blighted communities, which are neighborhoods 6, 5. It's very difficult. So if you guys have questions about specific properties, again, I think it's probably more appropriate to ask them offline, not in the public eye. Does that make sense? I think it's the advice of the city manager or the city attorney. If you want to ask what the enforcement status is at 123 Smith Street, I think that's probably a conversation that needs to happen outside the public.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next thing is, I think that we should have a regular monthly, if we're gonna do it monthly, beautification project and schedule it for the entire year. So that everybody knows, it's hard to get a volunteer to come if they don't have it in their calendar. Because there's so many things that come up in the summertime. People are taking vacations or gone, I mean, it's hard. And so I think, and there's so many people that want volunteers. So I think if we would say, okay, you know, June 2nd, we're doing this, you know, July, whatever, we're skipping.
Like
maybe,
every
whatever.
third Thursday of the
Whatever it
month
might
or
be.
something.
We're gonna do this, and even if it's one small project, at least it's something that we can put on our social media that we're doing it. And then we can get volunteers in advance and, you know, go from there.
What if we did the next 4 months, because we're already doing May, so May could be mine, somebody takes June, July, August, September.
And it doesn't have to be huge, you know, just something. Then I thought maybe what we could think of towards the fall is like a give back to your community day. So we do one
That's right.
larger, big project or a few smaller projects. And then at the very end of it, that would be our last project for the year. And maybe we invite our volunteers and we have a small barbecue. I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there to get more people to come. No.
I like that. I was thinking ahead of you and I thought, gee, that
See,
would
you
be
should have
fun.
said
Yeah, they'll feel like they're a part of it, you know?
And that's kind of what we had we had a launch or whatever after the last one. I think people
Yeah.
appreciated that.
So if we do
That's cute.
June, July, August, September, and then October, do a big project, and
Big,
then
yeah, our big,
beautification.
yeah. Enough money to make hot dogs or something.
Maybe let's just decide on that right now. Then we had May 4th is the first Thursday. Maybe it's the first Thursday of every month or something at that same time. Does everybody think about that?
Do we think we can commit and find volunteers and projects for all that?
I think we have to reach out, and that was one thing I was gonna ask Kelly, is if Manistee Proud would be interested in coming to help us if they knew we had a specific event coming. I don't know, I mean, we could reach out to them, is that something that we could do?
we do.
Maybe collaborate a little bit with them?
Absolutely. We do have 15 projects in the works, though.
Okay.
So, and our volunteers, I know that it's been said that we're hoarding the volunteers or not sharing the volunteers. That is not true. When volunteers give me their information, it's not for me to give. It's their information. And I do put it out on the Manistee Proud social media. And then if they want to volunteer for the NRBC, I had 2 that did want to, so they contacted me and I shared them with Mary.
Okay, good.
So I can't give their personal information to just everybody. It's,
So maybe that's another social media thing
Yes.
that we're gonna put out there.
Yes.
That we're, looking for them. But I think we could look at, the school, the senior center has a group of men that help with Habitat for Humanity. Maybe they'd be willing to come and help us. I mean, the VFW, there's Calvin Murphy, has a group of veterans. There are people out there. We just need to maybe touch base. Once we have a specific thing in mind, maybe whatever we do would make sense for a certain group. Like, let's say we're doing whatever Jermaine said by a church. Maybe we get a church group to come, you know what I mean, and help, and we reach out to them. I don't know, I'm just throwing something out there. Or maybe, I'm gonna use like the bank, for example. We have something and I'll ask everybody if they'd be willing to do it. So maybe we could ask a business to do it if it's by their business. I don't know, I'm just trying to get out there so that we are doing things that people are asking, because I don't wanna say, oh yeah, we haven't done a whole lot. So I'm not too thrilled about that.
Well, I'd be happy to, now this first Thursday of every month is when we're going to be doing a
Project.
hands-on project. Okay, so, I know I could get several groups together.
Fabulous.
And Jim and I work really closely with the cross-country team, and we've made large donations to them.
Right.
And I know those kids, I love them, and I know they would come out for us.
That's perfect, yeah. That would
And,
be great.
I could get a hold of Eric and I could get you quite a few youngsters for that day.
Perfect.
And I also know a couple other places I could go, but yeah, when you need somebody,
You're gonna be our gal.
I will be happy to, you know, go back and,
That's awesome, thank you.
I'm sure they would help us out.
That's great, thank you. So, are we good there?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to just schedule the community service days, and then we will figure out what we're doing on those days as they come about. But
Okay,
just getting
perfect.
something written down, posted on the calendars is a good way for volunteers to commit to it. I agree.
Okay. Then Chief, I know that I talked about a grant writer and you were gonna check for this meeting who is doing it and if we can do anything on our own with a grant writer?
So in order for this group to pursue a grant, it needs to be approved by the city council. We don't currently have grant writers on staff. We sometimes, depending on the grant, we contract out with the department heads to write the grants.
Okay,
I believe there potentially is a position, a part-time position, maybe requested through a grant for someone who would, I want to be careful. So that's the path we currently have.
okay, so what if we had a volunteer and they wrote up, let's say there's a grant available and we, wanted to have a volunteer write it up. Could we do that and present it to the city council?
Yeah, the presentation of city council is just them authorizing grant permission to pursue that grant. Yeah, so I don't see an
So
issue
could
there.
that work if we could do that?
Let me have the city manager answer that question. I can't answer yes to
Okay,
that.
you'll check that out and just
Yeah.
let us know, okay.
And these grants would be for
Just
financial aid or whatever it might be.
Right, yeah, whatever's
Okay.
available for either blight or beautification.
Okay.
And I'll start looking to see once we know, but I didn't want to start looking until we knew we could do
Sure.
something, so, okay. And then, I know Kelly, I'm going back to you again about the I was going through all my notes, that's all right.
Yep.
So you were gonna handle getting all the volunteers and writing a letter and moving forward with that. Did that ever come about? Did we have any?
What was I gonna do?
You were going to write a letter in one of our minutes there about getting new volunteers, but I don't remember seeing that. Did you? Did you?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
That would have been from
It was a while.
first couple
back.
months.
It was a long time ago, but I was just trying to go back to see if that ever came through.
So
Because I
you-
thought that would be good to put on our social media.
So you want me to write a letter?
Well, we can just write something to put on social media
Okay.
again then.
Didn't this group do that? Put a post out before our first project?
I thought it did, but then I thought we tabled it or something. I don't think it ever.
Looking for volunteers, contact
How
one
the
of you two.
how the volunteer thing went was we originally delegated Kelly to
Right.
spearhead that, and then we kind of got a list started from the big day of serving list that I had, and then from there, I think Mayor Dilworth and I have kind of just added to the list when people contact us or when people give Mayor the contacts, or we reach out to that same group via email every time we have a project. So
Okay.
And I have done that as well.
Okay.
I'll get volunteers and I'll share them.
Okay. So I know, Kelly, that you had said that Manistee Proud had, wondered at one time what we were doing. Is that something that they want to come and talk to us about to see if there's anything that we could collaborate together maybe?
Well, we can collaborate on whatever, but like I said, we have 15 projects in the works. And
Okay.
so I feel like we're getting stuff done too.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah, you guys are.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A
so
lot.
I think that was all of mine.
I got a meeting with the city manager today. Let me see if I can get that answer to you specifically today about the grants.
Great, thank you, I appreciate that.
And the two things that I wanted to talk about were answered, so I'm good.
If I could steal 3 minutes from an already healthy meeting, real quick, I'll go through fast. I presented this to City Council as part of my annual budget, so I'll go quickly through it. Just what we did last year, 2022 blight enforcement. We went through GIS mapping system today, so we're familiar with that. Anyone wants to meet one-on-one, I'd be happy to show you more detail what that is. In 2022, we had 395 total blight complaints, 45 civil fractions were issued, and 21 municipal citations were issued. And I gave this to city council as some examples. I wish we took more pictures of before and after, but
Not the same house.
yes,
Sure doesn't look like it.
yeah. It
Different
is.
angle.
It's, well, those who know this house know how.
I
So,
guess.
our blight enforcement ranges from, siding replacement, which, this was one on 8th Street siding replacement, to window and siding replacement, to total house demolitions, to structures, outhouses, buildings, things of that nature, to giant holes in walls and siding. In this picture, there's a large amount of very large logs that you can't see were also removed before and after. To junk, to trash. So this is just a few examples of what our officers have done. I wish they could take more pictures, but I get 15 minutes for city council. I can't go on for an hour about before and after, but just the types of blight enforcement that our officers see. And then, as I reported, just a collaboration, NRBC, Safe Bill, and the Land Bank. My understanding is there's another cycle for the Land Bank, the grant pursued by the Land Bank for demolition of blighted structures. We've already got one city resident signed up for that. We're trying to see if there are more that are willing to have properties demolished. So again, just constant collaboration. So that's my 3 minutes.
I got a quick question on one of those, the one that had the open side. Is it allowable through the city to have the machinery that they have sitting there for over a year?
Is it
Like the
still there?
bulldozer? Yeah, it's been there for.
I don't know, I can look into that. You're talking about more of a zoning thing, open storage of commercial vehicle, I can look into it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been sitting there. I mean, they moved the logs, but all of the equipment is still sitting there. It's been sitting there for.
That wouldn't be a blight issue, but we can certainly look into it. We were happy just to have them cover the hole up and get rid of the logs that the DPW dropped off for them. So, those aren't the only cases, clearly, those just, this, so you can see before and after, because I think pictures, again, speak 1,000 words, and those are the type of blight issues our officers encounter, so. That's it.
Okay.
Take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Aye, aye.